What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live. Today, 11 games for picks against the spread. You guys will be able to get your fix of picking games. We'll see if I can make a comeback, if Zach can make a comeback, if chat can reclaim the lead. Tons of games to pick from today, and I think a lot of the spreads are pretty interesting. So should have a good variety in picks. Looking forward to that. Other than that, we'll maybe take your questions a little bit. We haven't really done that a whole lot on streams lately, and I don't know what else to really talk about. So after picks against the spreads, we'll take a couple questions, and that will be our stream for today. I hope everybody's days are going well. Eric, you got vaccinated yesterday.
Yeah.
How's your energy levels? You feeling normal? You feeling good?
Yeah, I feel completely normal today. Not too bad.
That's good. That's good to hear. So let's just jump straight into the records, because there is something that I have to bring up here. Notice how the games behind are like 3.5, 5.5, 8.5. Well, we had our first tie of the season. Milwaukee was a 7-point favorite, and we all picked that game, of course, so it didn't count for all of us, but Eric doubled down on the Bucks. So it didn't count for 2 games for Eric. So he was only 4-1 on Thursday.
I'm so pissed about that game.
Milwaukee blew it late.
Milwaukee was up 21 headed into the fourth, so I had a 14-point cushion. Mm-hmm. And then I checked with a minute 20 left, and they were up 13. And almost blew it. They got 76ers actually cut it to 6. And then they fouled Giannis, who then misses one of the 2 free throws, and then the game ends at 7 instead of a victory. And I would have gone 6-1, and that was my island double down. So everyone else would have gotten another loss, and I would have won my double down, and I would be up even more games right now. So I'm very bitter about that still from Thursday.
You are very bitter. I see a tear rolling down your cheek right now. Thankfully, we're on the picks against the spread slide, so nobody can see that. But Milwaukee was not kind to you whatsoever. So what we're going to do today is Eric is going to pick 2 double downs at the end of this. We got 11 games, so 2 out of the 11 he's going to pick from, and that'll help make up that game, unless there's another tie. Hopefully not. But yeah, so just to get his record back to what everybody else's. That's what we did last year. We haven't had to do it this year, but now we have to do it. So shout out to the 27 of you that are in here. You will be able to basically make your picks heard right off the bat. Is Zach in here? Or is he gone? I know he said he might be gone for this.
I haven't seen him, so I'm assuming he wasn't able to make it.
All right, who's taking over Zach duties? Reese, do you want to? The pick start now comment that he leaves. Do you want to do that, Reese?
Reese, can you do that? And then Trevin, can you count? Is that okay for you guys?
Yeah, Trevin count, Reese do when the voting starts after we talk about injuries. Deal? Okay, Reese says, yeah, all right. Sounds like a deal. Appreciate it. So Zach did give us his picks, so no problem there. Game number 1, you got Atlanta taking on Detroit. This game's being played in Detroit, and Atlanta is a 4-point favorite. What are the injuries, Eric?
So we got out for the Hawks, Lou Williams, Trae Young, Tony Snell, DeAndre Hunter, and Cam Reddish. But they do get Chris Dunn back for the first time in a while.
Oh, wow. Phenomenal.
For the Pistons, they have almost everyone playing except for Josh Jackson, Dennis Smith Jr., and Magruder are out. But they looks like Grant and Plumlee are both playing. Those are usually the key ones to look at with them.
Yeah, this is a tough one. All right, Reese, leave your comment. If you're new to this, votes don't start until Reese leaves that comment. I like the way Reese said it. I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna think about this one. This is a tough one. Doesn't seem like it's tough for chat. Do you have Zach's picks? What'd Zach go?
We'll have to bring them up.
Trevin went Hawks. So yeah, you said no Trey, no Hunter, no Reddish.
No Lou Williams. No
Lou
Snow.
Williams. Yeah. Missing a lot. 11-4 Hawks for Chet. I'm going to go with the Pistons with the points just because Atlanta has so many guys out. Reese is going Hawks.
Zach went Hawks. I'm sure he did not closely look at injuries, though, so kind of feel bad, but
it's fine.
Is what it is. I'm also going with the Hawks.
I mean, I'm on an island here with Detroit, so I'll take it. With all those guys they got out, I feel all right with this island and this potentially being a close game. So, all right, that's game number 1. Game number 2, you got Orlando taking on the Lakers, and the Lakers are 10.5-point favorites on the road.
Yeah, so for the Magic, no Ennis, Ross, or Otto Porter Jr., in addition to their, Isaac and Fultz. And then for the Lakers, they have LeBron out, of course. Gasol and KCP were probable. I'm guessing they're going to play. Dennis Schroeder, questionable. I have not seen an update on that if anyone has that. And for the record, Anthony Davis now has no restrictions, so he is a full go tonight.
Okay. Trevin went Lakers. What was Zach's pick?
Zach,
I can pull it up.
Okay, so I guess we're not.
Not what?
Well, like some of these games, there's guys questionable, but it should be time to see whether or not they're playing or not. So I guess we're starting voting before getting an answer to that. But
I thought it was just after the injuries. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you mean.
Zach is going to Orlando.
Yeah. This is a tough one to pick. Chat's going 9-6 Lakers. I'll also go Lakers. Reese says Schroeder playing.
Let's see.
And Reese is going Lakers.
I'm writing down all Zach's picks ahead of time, so give me just a second to get caught back up.
Doesn't he have it in the... He sent it to us in the Discord.
No, so I don't have to go back and forth between chat.
Yeah, you good. That's smart.
All right, good.
I'm
going with the Lakers.
All right, Zach's on an island with this one. 2 islands, me in game number 1 and Zach in game number 2. Game number 3, this one's interesting. Philadelphia is a 13.5-point favorite at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
So, Thunder are without Tony Bradley, Lou Dort, Muscala. SGA, I think, is still out. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. What's up, Zach? There he is.
What's up, Zach?
And the 76ers have Ben Simmons making his return to the lineup tonight, along with Tobias Harris is playing, Korkmaz is playing. They have Scott and Danny Green out of this game. And then Embiid, last I saw, was still questionable, if anyone has an update on that.
Yeah, somebody get us an update before we start the vote. Yeah, so this is a huge spread. See you later, Zach.
Bye, Zach.
Embiid is playing, but 13.5 points.
I'm going to take the 76ers. And for those in chat that are voting, please wait until Reese today announces who
Yep.
when the voting starts. There we go. So feel free to vote now. Trevin was going for the Sixers.
Yeah, I think I'll also go Sixers. we blew out this Thunder team by 40, so I think the Sixers can win by 14 or more. This might be a clean sweep. What did Zach go with?
Zach went with the Thunder.
All right.
And
Chat's going Sixers. Trevin went Sixers, you said?
I haven't seen 13-2 Sixers.
Yeah, so Zach's on another island here. Second game in a row, he's on an island. Let's see if we can get a little bit more variety. I think some of the spreads in the later games are much more intriguing than these. Game number 4. This is an intriguing one. You got San Antonio going against Washington. San Antonio is 2.5-point favorites.
So the only person I saw out for the Spurs is Trey Lyles. It looks like almost everyone else is playing. I'm just going to double check that real quick. Yep. And then for the Wizards, Westbrook was listed on the injury report, but is playing. Robin Lopez is out. Of course, if Dia and Thomas Bryant are also out, I think both of them are now out for the season.
Yes.
So yeah, pretty much everyone but Rolo of their players they have left.
Okay.
So I am going with the Wizards because they have won a lot of games in a row, and I'm not sure why the Spurs are favored in this one.
Well, I thought this one was going to be more interesting, but I don't think it's going to be. Dang, man. The Spurs would be a bold pick here.
They'll probably win by like 30.
What's Zach's?
Zach is taking the Wizards.
This might be a clean sweep. Reese is going Spurs. All right, Reese wants an island. Because I think Chat's going to go with the Wizards. All right, there's Reese with an island. Everybody, all 4 games, it's 5-1 votes. That's been a trend lately, man. I don't know why. But lately it's been real one-sided. Game number 5. All right, here you go. Maybe this one, because Phoenix is a 2.5-point favorite going up against the Knicks in New York City. This is probably going to be the toughest game for me to pick.
Yep, and so for these Suns, not huge injuries, but several rotation players, including Dario Saric and Jay Crowder, are out, along with Langston Galloway and Abdel Nader. For the Knicks, they have Alec Burks and Mitchell Robinson out for this one. Mitchell Robinson, of course, out for a while. But
how long has Burks been out, do you know?
He's in medical protocol, so it's just been recently.
Okay.
And I don't remember. Did the Knicks play yesterday too? I know the Suns played in Brooklyn.
I don't know. I do not know. Reese says Suns. Trevin says Knicks.
I'm going to take the Suns.
I'm going to take the Knicks. I was hoping you'd take the Suns. Just so I could have a different pick than you, because I got to try and make up ground. All right, there we go. This is already better.
See, there you go again. Picking based on what others do instead of...
I was going to pick the Knicks.
I know, I'm just teasing.
What was Zach's pick?
Zach picked the Knicks.
Knicks, all right.
See what chat does.
Taryn.
Oh,
his accent, bro.
Reese hasn't done the voting start yet.
Oh, well. Is what it is. Oh, yeah, it did.
He just did now, yeah. But several people had voted or were waiting for him.
Yeah. Come on, Reese.
That's
Jeez,
right.
Reese.
This is his first time doing it. He forgot one.
I gotta remind him. It looks leaning Knicks. Yeah, 9-6 Knicks. All right. Chat just wants to roll with the majority there. All right. Eric and Reese going Suns. Everybody else going Knicks. Let's move on to game number 6. This spread is going to have to be explained likely with injuries because Toronto is an 11.5 point favorite over the Cleveland Cavaliers. This game being played in Tampa.
Yes. So Gary Trent Jr. is out, along with Paul Watson.
He's been playing solidly.
Yeah. Chris Boucher is also out.
Okay.
And Rodney Hood is probable for the Raptors. For the Cavs, they are without Colin Sexton and Larry Nance Jr., the big ones. And then Della Vadova, Prince, and Windler are also out for this one.
So they have Garland, they have Love, they have Jared Allen.
Yes.
Okay.
The point spread is huge, yeah. Toronto doesn't really have much in terms of injuries, though.
What was Zach's...
Zach picked the Cavaliers, and this is his double down.
Okay.
Taking the points there.
Trevin's going Raptors. Reese is going Raptors.
I'm also going Raptors.
You're going Raptors?
I just have... I was all on the Cavs, but I just have... Yeah. This seems like a get-well game for the Raptors.
Yeah,
and they're still fighting for that play-in position.
Yeah, I think the Raptors will win, but not by 12 or more.
Yeah.
Ditch the hat. 10-5 Cavs. All right, clean or a split vote. Perfect. Finally, a split vote in game number 6. Trevin, Reese, and Eric. Eric's pairing up with the two people on bottom. That's Trevin and Reese. I'm pairing up with Zach and Chat.
I'm just going to increase my lead while they catch up to you guys.
Yeah, I'm feeling, let's see. You're going to have 13 games on your record because you got 2 double downs. Let's see. I feel like a 4-9 is coming. Game number 7, you got Miami versus Chicago. Miami 6-point favorite.
Yes, and the Bulls are still without Levine, and Troy Brown Jr. is also out for this one.
Mm-hmm.
For the Heat, they are without Kendrick Nunn, Andre Iguodala, Tyler Hero, and Victor Oladipo all out.
Alrighty.
But Jimmy and Bam are playing.
Zach's pick was what?
Zach picked the Heat.
All right. Voting starts now. Trevin's going Heat.
Stupid Heat. God. I'm going to take the Heat too, but I don't like it.
I'm also going to take the Heat. Reese is going Bulls.
I do not love the Heat, Belgian. Thank you very much, but...
I think Chat's going Heat by the looks of it.
13-2.
All right. I think this ties...
Tied for their double down so far.
Yep. Game number 8 of 11. Minnesota versus Utah. Utah 10-point road favorite.
All right. So for the Jazz, they are still without Donovan Mitchell. And then like 2 rookies that don't really play at all, so it doesn't matter. And then for the Timberwolves, they have Malik Beasley is the only one listed on their injury report.
Alrighty. Zach's pick was?
Zach picked the Timberwolves.
Okay.
Without Donovan Mitchell, I'm also going to take the Timberwolves and the 10 points. Trevin took the Wolves.
Um, I'm gonna look up Utah's recent games.
11-4.
For the what?
For chat.
Yeah, for the
Timberwolves, sorry. Yeah. Reese also took the Wolves.
Give me like
Torrey Island.
I'm debating it. I'm just I mean the Timberwolves just beat the Jazz. 2 games before that the Jazz won by. I mean, I gotta make some ground up. So I am gonna go with the Jazz.
Or fall further behind.
I mean, I gotta risk it for the biscuit, so.
Zach, you had 2 islands earlier, so no, not everyone's copying your picks.
Nah, yeah.
You're on the Magic and Thunder Island, I don't think.
Clippers 1.5 favorites on the road in New Orleans. Injuries, because I know the Clippers have to be missing someone.
Yeah, so the Clippers are without Luke Kennard. Rondo was questionable last I saw. Looks like he might not be on the injury report anymore. Beverly, Ibaka, and Kawhi Leonard all out.
Okay. What about the Pels?
For the Pelicans, they have Steven Adams and James Johnson are both out, along with Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Josh Hart.
All right. Trevin's going Clippers. I'm going to go with the Pelicans.
I don't like this one.
What was Zach's pick?
Zach picked the Clippers.
All right. If he's in here, you can say Pelicans if he wants to change it. Reese is going Pelicans.
I'm also going Pelicans.
Of course you are. Copy me.
I hate Pelicans. Yeah.
I think we have like
13-2 Clippers for chat.
All right, cool. There we go. A split vote. I think the only picks of mine that are different from yours, Eric, are my islands. Ugh, man. No, we had a split vote. The last split vote, we were different.
Cavaliers, okay. Raptors.
I gotta make up ground. So I hate when we pick the same team because I'm running out of time. So chat, Trevin, Zach, look at how that's split. Look how perfect that is. Me, Eric, Reese going Pels. Zach, Trevin, chat going Clippers. Game number 10. We're almost to the finish line here. Denver's a 4-point favorite going up against Memphis.
Real quick, someone could check on Aaron Gordon for me for this one while I read off the other injuries. Will Barton, Monte Morris, Jamal Murray, Shaquille Harrison all out in this one. Mm-hmm. And then Aaron Gordon was questionable last I saw with a knee injury. And then for the Grizzlies, the only one listed on their injury report is Jaren Jackson Jr. I have seen no updates on his status, but it looks like he just rested on the first game of a back-to-back for them yesterday, so I think he should be on the court tonight.
Okay.
Let's see if anyone... Aaron Gordon... I don't see anything about Aaron Gordon even being injured. Okay. So I guess Gordon's playing then, maybe.
Okay. This is an interesting one. What was Will Barton's injury, by the way? Was that serious?
I don't know if they know yet. It was a hamstring injury, it was ruled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reese, make sure to post that if you haven't already.
It's apparently a significant hamstring injury.
Significant. That's not good.
Yeah. But you never know with those kind of ones.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm gonna take the Grizzlies. I like the way they're playing.
They've been playing the Blazers, Eric.
No, I mean I know, but I like their having Jackson back and just overall.
Yeah, it's hard to get a feel for the Nuggets without Murray. The last time these teams played was pretty recently. The Nuggets won in double OT. Jokic had 47. Yeah. So you take out from that game, you add Valanciunas and you add Jaren Jackson Jr. and you take out Will Barton.
Did Jamal Murray play in that game though?
No.
That was after, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm taking Memphis.
Zach took the Nuggets.
All right. Zach's being sus too. Somebody hacked his account. Chat is Grizzlies. No, we don't have the count on that, but Trevor says chat's Grizzlies. Reese is Grizzlies.
He said there was more than 2 votes for the Nuggets to make it not their double down, but
okay. Trevin is also Grizzlies. So Zach's on an island. I don't think we have a clean sweep. That's dope. I like that. All right, final game of this marathon. You got Sacramento taking on Dallas, and Dallas is a 6.5-point favorite.
So Porzingis and Richardson are doubtful. Questionable Redick, Kleba, and probable Luka and Dorian Finney-Smith. If anyone has any updates on the questionable guys, that would be much appreciated. And then the Kings played last night in a game they almost beat the... Did you see what happened at the end of that game?
Nope.
They Halliburton kind of took over, and the Kings scored to cut it to 1, and then they trapped Curry on the inbounds, and he threw this terrible pass right to Hield, and he had a wide open dunk for the win, and he fumbled the ball out of bounds.
Did he? Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Were the Kings injuries?
Depending on whether you want the Warriors to pass us or not, that could have been a good or bad thing.
Mm-hmm. What are the Kings injuries, Eric?
The Aaron Fox is out.
Oh, that changes things.
Marvin Bagley's out, obviously. That looks to be the Robert Woodard is day-to-day, but I don't know. It probably doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. Oh, this is tough. This is a tough one. Trevin goes Dallas. Zach, since you're in here, you can make your pick.
If he doesn't change it, he'd pick the Kings.
Alright.
Man, the Mavericks have not been playing great lately either, but I am going to take them.
I'm going to take the Kings.
All right.
Halliburton starting with Hield. They do have DeLon Wright off the bench, so De'Aaron Fox hurts, but they do have a lot of depth at the guard position. Yeah. I mean, Dallas has a lot of guys out. And a lot of guys questionable, so I'll take Sacramento.
Chat is Dallas. Trevin says it's not their double down.
All right. And then Reese went with Dallas as well. So me and Zach going with the Kings here. Everybody else going Mavericks. All right. Time for double downs.
All right. So if you want to just go back through it real quick, there's 3 games chat has to vote on, I think. Or no, just 2. No, 3. 3.
Which games are those?
That is the Thunder versus the 76ers with a 13.5-point spread.
Yeah.
The Clippers at the Pelicans. Clippers are favored by 1.5, or the Bulls at the Heat. Heat favored by 6. So starting right now, first 15 votes will be the double down between the 76ers, Clippers, and Heat.
Yep, 76ers, Clippers, Heat. What should be 5-5-5?
That'd be funny. I'm not seeing many votes for one. So if it is 5-5-5, we just have to do the 16th vote.
It's literally just Philly. It's Philly. Philly has like 8 votes, 9 votes. So Chat's double down is going to be Philadelphia. 13.5-point favorites.
And Zach's was Cleveland, unless he wants to switch that.
Gonna rewind through the stream to see which game I want. I'm gonna go with Washington.
Washington, yeah, that's a good one.
What are your 2, Eric?
I am going to take the Suns for one of mine. And Washington is also going to be one of mine.
All right. I mean, I don't know what to do for this graphically, but Washington/Phoenix for Eric. Was Reese's and Trevin's.
Trevin went with the Sixers. So no, Zach, he did not copy you. He copied Chat.
Trevin's going Sixers. I'm going to put your logo as Phoenix. Because I picked New York, so that's a huge game. Reese is going with who?
Lakers.
Alrighty. So that is picks against the spread. Good luck to everyone except for Chat and Eric and Zach. I'll extend good luck wishes to Trevin and Reese. They need it, but everybody else, hopefully you lose some games. I'm trying to win. No more good luck wishes for Eric and Chat. You guys have been up top too long. Anyway, we'll look at the records before we finish this. That's what the records are heading into today.
You don't get a second double down, Zach.
Nice try. Anyway, all right. So we'll take questions in chat. We don't really have a plan for the second part of the stream. I hope you guys liked the stream title, though. Tried to give you guys something you would like, but I mean, I don't know. What you want to? The Kevin. Okay, let's spend 2 minutes, maybe 5. I don't know. Let's talk about the Kevin O'Connor thing. All right. So I tweeted this out. I'm just gonna read this because this is exactly how I think about this. Right. So. If you don't know, Kevin O'Connor basically went on a podcast and was saying basically it's personnel, it's not coaching, yada yada yada, right? And at the start of the season, he was saying, "Oh, Blazers personnel isn't good, it's overrated, yada yada yada." Okay. Now you have a bunch of people, that have big Twitter accounts that are a part of Blazers Twitter or have podcasts. Or cover the team that are basically taking what Kevin O'Connor said, Kevin O'Connor, by the way. Kevin freaking O'Connor. They're taking what he said, and they're acting like it's gospel. And you have people say, see, look, he was right all along. He knows what's going on. And I tweeted this out. I said, it's funny how there's people that cover the team, have podcasts, or have big Twitter accounts that they are so bad at making their own arguments that they have to latch onto a national media member who's watched maybe 3 Blazers games all season long, and they have to latch onto him so that that guy can try and make their case for them. Like, they're acting as if Kevin O'Connor watches the team regularly. Like, he doesn't. He doesn't watch the team regularly enough to know what goes on with the team on a game-in, game-out basis. Yet, somehow, what he says is gospel because he was hating on the personnel at the start of the season. Even though, when he was hating on the personnel at the start of the season, the same people that are now acting like he speaks gospel were disagreeing with him and saying that the personnel was good. Okay? Yeah, I mean, you even got, I'm not even in the business of tossing out names today. Normally I would, but you got people that 2 weeks ago were saying the personnel were good, and now they're trying to say the personnel was trash. It's their last ditch effort to try and change the narrative around Terry Stotts. The thing is, across the NBA, when you have fans that tune in and watch games, fans of other teams tune in and watch games and realize we're a poorly coached team. You look at Raptors fans; they wanted to tune in and watch Norman Powell. And they are getting triggered at the way this team is coached. They know what a good team, a well-coached team looks like. Okay, since when did Kevin O'Connor become the guy? Like, since when did his talk become gospel? Since when did he become the guy that knows what's going on with this team on the floor? Bro, everybody's complained about how national media members don't pay any attention to the Blazers. So it's so funny to me that just because, one random national media member makes the case that's personnel, now they're just acting like this guy's a god and speaking gospel, and they're bowing at his feet and trying to use him as a gotcha. See, he knows what's going on. You all are wrong. And it's literally just because they can't make their own arguments, Eric, because they're bad at making their own arguments and can't even hang in a discussion without trying to bring in that type of stuff.
Well, it's once again contradictory, but what's weird is Kevin O'Connor is right for the wrong reasons. He didn't peg what was wrong with this team. He just happened to get lucky because the real reason for this team underperforming is allowing him to blame the personnel because the coaching has absolutely been terrible. And I don't care. I don't get it, Tori, because whether you think this roster is imbalanced or there's a lack of talent or the 3 guards don't work, I saw that all today. Give me a freaking break. Dude, this team is underperforming. Look, no matter what you think of this roster, you cannot tell me that this team should be involved in possibly the second play-in game, not even the good play-in game, or a chance to not even go in there. Did you all see KP's tweet? I don't know who that is or what he's referring to. But so, first of all, Norman Powell is, yes, an inch or two smaller than Gary Trent. I don't buy that Gary Trent's 6'5", first of all, because they don't look any different size-wise on the floor when they played against each other. They look about the same size. And Norman Powell plays bigger than he is. He's got a long wingspan, all that kind of stuff.
Norman Powell's standing reach is reported to be 5 inches higher than Gary Trent Jr.'s.
And I just have one question. This is why these people do not know what they're talking about. If our defense, the problem was that we have too small of a lineup, right? We start the 3 guards, right? Why would our transition defense be bad? Why would our perimeter defense be bad? Right? Because if you have a small lineup, you'd think those guys are all guards. They should be getting back on defense. We shouldn't be getting burnt down the court.
Yeah.
How do you explain that? It's not like they're getting posted up and killing us because they do 30 post-ups a game and they're just abusing Powell. I mean, there's been a couple plays recently where a Paul George or someone like that will post up a smaller defender. But for the most part, it's like transition and getting by our guards. And you can say that that's personnel too, but
I mean, all that is, Eric, is them looking at our starting lineup on a sheet of paper, seeing who we're starting, and then looking at defensive statistics, seeing that we rank 29th, and trying to correlate the two without ever watching a lick of basketball. Anybody can do that.
And I mean, Norm himself has mentioned how we don't come to games prepared enough, and we look at. So Little Mikel says he asked his brother that question. He said small guards can't guard perimeter shots. Okay, so why is Utah good then? They have two small guards. Mitchell and Conley are smaller than Dame and CJ. So why are they good guarding the perimeter then? Like it's just,
yeah,
it's just a never-ending argument, and it drives me crazy. And besides, like, yeah, they might start that way, but through the course of the game, it's not like they're starting or they're playing their entire 36 minutes or whatever together. They kind of stagger them once, like the first quarter gets a few minutes into it, and then the third quarter gets a few minutes into it. But like, I don't know, people are just trying to blame the trade for Powell. These problems all existed. Our defense was terrible before Powell. We had Derrick Jones starting at the three, and our defense was terrible. We had years where Aminu and Harkless were starting at the 3 and 4, and our defense was terrible.
I mean, Eric, we started Gary Trent Jr. for a big portion of the season at the 2 guard with Derrick Jones Jr. at the 3. No undersized backcourt there, and our defense was still terrible.
And we had Ariza at the 3 for much of last year. Defense was still terrible. Everyone says, oh, well, Whiteside is probably better defensively than Cantor or whatever. Defense was still terrible. Like, it does not matter what our personnel is, as if the scheme is bad. And I mentioned this before. If you play drop scheme against Steph Curry, you can have the 5 best defenders on the court, but if you're giving up wide open shots to a shooter that in today's NBA, no matter what team you play, they all have a shooter for the most part capable, and the ones that don't, magically our defense is good against, But like anytime we play a good ball handler that can shoot the ball, we get destroyed by them and they have a career game because of our schemes and the way we're prepared for defense and not taught as a unit how to defend. You talk about the shell drill and stuff like that. There's things that you learn at a very basic level to work as a team on defense instead of like individually. And your group as a whole can be better defensively than the individual parts are. And he absolutely has personnel to make that better. And then on top of all that, so Trevin brought this stat to me. So during the Western Conference playoff runs, our best defensive lineup had the 3 guards. So it was Curry, Dame, and CJ in it. They had like 100.6 defensive rating. And then this year, our starting lineup, what were people saying just a few weeks ago about our starting lineup once Nurk came back? We're like 19th or whatever, right? And they're like, oh, so our starting lineup's fine. It's our bench is the problem. But now it's not. It's like, oh, Cantor and Melo and starting the 3 guards, you can't win that way. When just last week, all these clowns were saying, oh, look at our defense. It's all about personnel because once Nurk got back in the lineup, we're up to 19th. That was with the 3 guard lineup. Like, that's what drives me crazy. These people do not know how to form an argument, like you said, and they do not know how to stay consistent with their arguments. It all comes back to they were so defiant that Stotts was not the problem. And they, even though now they're all going to say, oh, see, I said Stotts was going to be fired. I told you guys. They're all going to say that. But they don't truly believe that. And you can tell when they don't believe it because they're still coming up with excuses for why, yes, the coaching has been bad, but this is why. What is he supposed to do? Well, he has the talent to make it better. And I don't care if we're like if every team this year has the worst defense of all time statistically, you still shouldn't be last then. You still shouldn't be 29th. You should be closer to 20th at the very worst, even with like a bad coaching job, in my opinion. So like I'm sick of the excuses. I'm sick of people just blaming like things that can be changed. And above all that, even if the personnel was the problem and Terry could not do anything about it, he just cannot, it just does not work with the schemes, then change your schemes. Change something up. Don't keep doing the same thing with that personnel if you know it doesn't work with that. And that's always been my problem, both offensively and defensively. He continues to do the same thing with this personnel, whether it's good or not. So how can anyone say whether it's good or not, or overrated or underrated or whatever, without actually seeing if a coach that knows what the heck he's doing could actually do something with this roster?
Yeah, the way some Blazer fans cling to Terry Stotts is extremely strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange. There's people that I feel like would put their life on the line in order to keep him as coach. That's how dedicated they are to him being a good coach and much better than he is as a head coach of an NBA team. It's so strange, dude, because these people it's just a shred of what Kevin O'Connor says on a podcast and just start pointing fingers like, see, look at this. I don't get it. Dude, we're 32-28. Our roster is much better than 32-28. They're like, I wish I was dedicated enough to just screenshot some of the stuff people said and just actually put together just a timeline of the season for certain people of like them saying this at the start of the season, then bang, bang, bang. Because it would just be all over the place. It'd be a roller coaster. It'd be super inconsistent. And we've been saying the same thing all season long. You know, I go on post-game streams and I think, how am I going to make it unique enough today? How am I going to make it fresh enough today? Because it's almost like we are too consistent, you know? Shoot. I mean, maybe I should be one of those guys. You guys would never know what you're going to get in a post-game stream. It could be a back-to-back, and on the second night of a back-to-back, my post-game stream, I'm saying the complete opposite of what I said after the first night of the back-to-back. That's basically how some people go about it. It's funny to watch. It's silly. Thankfully, we should be into a new stratosphere or a new universe after the season, and maybe the roles will be flipped. Maybe we'll have a good coach and we'll be winning games and people will be saying it's due to the personnel, and we'll be saying, no, this is a really well-coached team and the personnel's solid. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out when Stotts gets fired. I'm so ready for it because I'm tired of having these conversations.
I got asked on a Blazer forum, like, the question was obviously meant to be unanswerable because this has never happened, but it was like, what coach this late in the season has been replaced and had success? It's like, well, it doesn't happen, but like that doesn't mean we can't do it, right? But I went back through and found quite an extensive list of this is just ones that I came up with in like 10 minutes. Let me bring it up here. While I'm bringing it up, so people are saying, like, now these people are saying that coaching doesn't have that much of an impact and all that stuff, which is how they acted all along when they lost an argument. But okay, so tell me why Tom Thibodeau has the Knicks fighting for a home court advantage right now. Why does Nate McMillan have a team that was 6 games under 500, well above 500 right now? Why does like several teams perform better with better coaches? Minnesota's been pretty good since they I mean, not good, but like they've been competitive since they switched coaches. Like, I don't know, it's just it drives me crazy that these things aren't hold on, I'm trying to bring it up, that these things are just excused as like, well, coaching doesn't have an impact anyway, so what's he supposed to do? You know, it's like, well, he could try something.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll take a couple questions in chat. These conversations are daily, and I just want it to be done. Is that Reese's brother in here? Or relative?
All right. So this kind of taking it back real quick. So
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, in 15-16, we had Blatt taken over, or Tyrone Lue taken over for David Blatt. They won the championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 05-06, Pat Riley took over for Van Gundy in the middle of the season. They went on to win the championship. Uh, Back in 79-80, Paul Westhead replaced Jack McKinney on the Lakers, and they went on to win the championship. And then in 81-82, Paul Westhead was fired and Pat Riley took over in the middle of the season, and they won a championship that year as well. In 77 and 78, the Seattle Supersonics were 5-17 when they fired Bob Hawkins and let Lenny Wilkens take over. That 5-17 team made it all the way to Game 7 of the finals before they lost, and then won the title under Lenny Wilkens the next year. And those are just a few of the coaching things I could find in like 10 minutes of research.
Yep.
So anyone who says that is just like, yeah.
Yeah, I wish people would come up with better arguments. It'd be more, I don't know, entertaining for me, dude. I mean, these arguments are so bad. Like, sometimes it's easier to argue against a good argument than it is against a bad argument, because a bad argument's so bad that you can't really argue it with logic, because the logic should be obvious already. You know what I mean? I don't know.
And this all boils down to me is people don't like Olshey. They don't like him, so they're looking for reasons to hate him. I don't hate Stotts. I don't think he's a good coach, and he hasn't been for years. And we've pointed out exactly why we think that way. But these people with Olshey just think like there's some magic trades he should have done, and the same people would have complained if we traded for Kawhi Leonard and then he left after a year and we didn't win a title like Toronto did, and all that kind of stuff. So it just, I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't have made a risk or gone for some of those trades, but we also don't know if Sacramento even wanted CJ in those trades or whatever. Like, we don't know that. So it's just frustrating because, I got Olshey's an impotent car salesman, a soap opera actor, all of the above from people today. Yep, that's all they have to bash him because, they just don't like him.
Yeah, I'm tired. Honestly, I'm exhausted of it. I mean, if there's a new coach next year, we're just going to hear a bunch of Olshey hate, and I don't know. But like, what if the roster does well? You know, like what if we get a new coach and then we crush it next year, because we're a well-coached team with a legitimately good roster? What are people gonna say? Are they gonna say, "Oh, you're right, we're replacing Stotts"? You know. Like, they can't win because either the roster's really good or the coach is really good if we get a new coach next year and play well. So it'll be interesting to see whether they will say, oh, you know what, the roster is good. You know, this new coach isn't doing much different, but the roster was good and they figured things out and now they're meshing, whatever. Or will it be, oh, the roster's still not that good, but this is a really well-coached team, and Stotts was actually an issue. You know what I mean? Basically, if we replace Stotts and we do well next season with like a similar roster and we do a lot better, these people are not going to be able to say anything.
Yep. Well,
so that's what I want to see.
Here's the problem, though, Tori. All these same people, what do they say when we get off to a slow start? Oh, the team needs time to gel, that needs time to learn the new schemes, that needs time to play together, all this crap. I guarantee you these guys will all be like, oh, I thought coaching was the issue. Why didn't we win tonight when we go 0-1 or something, you know? Like,
yep.
And that's, you guys, you have to look at the people who have stayed consistent the whole times with their arguments and call them out when they don't, because frankly, it's just not good analysis if they're like that. And honestly, you and I sat here beginning of the season talking about how it's okay to sacrifice some wins early in the season to develop some new schemes and to play the right way to help us in the playoffs, right? You were very much aboard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to happen if there's a new coach and there's like Dame and CJ have all these habits for 9 years. They're not just going to magically get rid of all those habits over a training camp or whatever they do with the season next year. So it's going to take some time even for a new coach to to work some of these out, which is one of the other reasons I want him to be fired before he just completely ruins any of these players. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be patient with a new coach. I want to see them playing the right way. If I see we bring in a new coach and he's just isoing Dame and pick and roll against traps and running the same defensive coverage against every single player and team, then I'm going to be upset with that, and I will call it out, like, that the coaching is still a problem. But I don't want to see people, like, if they are trying to learn a new system, just get all on their cases over a few games. Like the people who are like, oh, we traded for Norm Powell, give them 6 games at least to see what happens. And then they disappear or say it's talent after those 6 games, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people continue to contradict themselves and will continue to call it out. Yeah, I mean, just hoping next year we have more fresh stuff to talk about, just because I'm just at the point where it's just like it's the same stuff with the team, it's the same stuff with, you know, the Blazer fan community and people on Twitter and all that type of stuff, and it's just getting so repetitive at this point, just in regards to on the court and off the court arguments. I'm a little burnt out, to be honest. You know, I'm a little burnt out of the team. The team's playing bad. All the issues are the same. We've been talking about them for years. I go on Twitter and still got all these people making all these ridiculous arguments, and burnt out on that too. And I'm just at the point where it's like, just please give me something new, so we could stop having to have the same conversation, you know, every time.
So Brandon B says to sign DeRozan, let Norm walk, trade CJ for a younger 3-and-D serviceable small forward like Jeremy Grant. Then you have Dame, DeRozan, Rocco, Grant, and Nurk. Okay, one, we don't have money. Even if we let Norm walk, we don't have enough cap space to sign DeRozan unless he takes the mid-level exception, which isn't happening. So that's out. Trading CJ for Jeremy Grant is not a possibility. Detroit would not accept that. They have no reason to accept that. Jeremy Grant is younger, and they are attached to him and like him a lot, and they're not just going to ditch him after one season for CJ. So, I mean, yeah, like, in theory, this is what people say when we don't have talent or whatever. But honestly, DeRozan is just as bad defensively as CJ and doesn't have the shooting. So I don't know if he's even a better fit in that team versus just keeping CJ. And letting Norm walk, it might happen because he can leave and go to whatever team he wants, but I don't understand just letting him walk in that situation and signing DeRozan. Norm is way better than DeRozan would be on this team and for the future of this roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand why people would want that anyway, and it's not possible. But people come up with, like, I'm not saying you're doing this, Brandon, but there's other people that will come up with that hypothetical and then get mad at Olshey when he doesn't do it. When it's not even possible, and when it's not even good. I mean, CJ's a better fit next to Dame than DeRozan, believe it or not. I don't want DeRozan on this team. A lot of people want to go out and get DeRozan, and it just boggles my mind. Because why would you want a guy who doesn't defend and can't shoot threes and can't play off the ball and needs the ball in his hands all the time? You want a guy that can be good with the ball in his hands, but also play off the ball. That's the best fit next to Dame. You know, if DeRozan could shoot threes at 38%, then sure. You know, but that, like, the only potential CJ trade that I would be legitimately intrigued by, that I think might have a chance to happen, is if Milwaukee blows it in the playoffs and Chris Middleton becomes available. Okay? Now, you'd probably have to give up a little extra value with CJ. McCollum and Robert Covington for Chris Middleton is intriguing. Maybe we're giving up a little too much, but if Milwaukee feels like they have enough defensively and they're getting a guy like Rocco defensively, and they feel like they need a good guard perimeter scorer to kind of help Giannis take over games late, I could see that happening. And then you re-sign Norman Powell and you have Dame, Norm, Middleton, you know, as your 1 through 3. Now, who's the starting 4? I don't know. You traded Rocco. In that situation, I would actually, you know, get a new coach and then maybe start Nasir Little and hope he breaks out in his third season, and that could raise our ceiling potentially if he breaks out and if he's utilized correctly. Like something like that. That's still a pipe dream. That's still like something that like very like most likely will not be possible for Olshake to do, but that's the type of hypothetical I would consider. Other than that, there's really nobody out there for CJ McCollum in a trade that really makes a whole ton of sense. As far as Middleton goes, he's shooting 43% from three. He's averaging 5.5 assists per game. He's 6'7", so he can play the 2 or the 3. He's bigger. He's a really good defender. I don't know why people wouldn't want him. Like,
yeah,
I don't get that. He's a very good player. That's the type of player I would want to trade CJ for. Middleton's the only one I can think of that could even have a remote chance of being realistic at all.
Yeah, and maybe put Siakam in that range if we found a third team. Siakam, though, struggling from 3 the last 2 seasons, so not quite as seamless on offense, but maybe having an offense that's more predicated on Dame off ball with Siakam creating and stuff like that would be interesting.
Siakam in a Draymond role, basically.
Plus, Siakam is, in my opinion, better suited to guard a lot of the problem players we'd have trouble with, like a Kawhi or LeBron and AD, stuff like that. So, but yeah, like Trevin said, he'd probably shoot better here next to Dame as well, instead of being the focal point of a defense. But yeah, like he's more intriguing to me just because of the defensive lineups with him and Rocco and all that kind of stuff. So like if a team like the Knicks really coveted CJ, like it was reported earlier in the season, and then we were able to give CJ to the Knicks, and then the Knicks gave them like Obi Toppin and some picks or some young players, because the Knicks are going to be under the cap, so they could absorb CJ's salary. So it might work out to where Toronto just goes full rebuild and does something like that, and we get a versatile defender who can also play make a little bit. But yeah, short of those two, and like you said, those are probably both pipe dreams. But those would be like the type of guys we could look at, and I completely agree with you that not a lot of other players make sense.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see what the Blazers do in the offseason. It'll also be interesting to see what they do in the mock offseason. We'll see who gets them. We're not giving them to me or Eric. But yeah, we'll do another mock offseason for those of you who are around for our first mock offseason about a year ago. You guys know how it goes. But for those of you who don't, this offseason we already have some spots that we're going to give to people that were in it last year, people that like were good, close with in the community, and then our mods, of course, for sure. So our mock off season, basically, we'll have one person control every team, and we'll go through, people can make trades. They'll basically be the GM of their team, and they can make trades. It has to follow all the CBA rules. And then, we'll have draft picks. We'll have a full mock draft that will stream. We will then have just a free agency segment. So it'll be a complete mock off season.
And just for the record, before you beg to be in it or not, just know that it is very time. What's the right word? It takes a lot of time to do it, and you will get bombarded with DMs, and you have to be able to respond in a timely fashion. Yes, time consuming. Thank you. Yes. So it'll be like that. The more fun it is, the more of the 30 teams have someone that responds quickly to DMs and stuff like that. We have a lot of people playing from all over the world too, so you could get messages all throughout the day or night and stuff like that. So it's it is a bit of a commitment. So don't do it, or if you don't feel like you are completely into it, or kind of just like, oh, I'll see how it goes, like this is it'll probably be pretty serious this year. So
so I mean, we'll reach out if we need a few more spots filled, but we're gonna reach out to Valley Podcast, see if they want to handle the Suns. We have a lot of people that we talk with in we have like a more private Discord that we like personally know a few members of the community, and they'll get a chance because we know they'll be active and could negotiate over voice chat. So I will set up voice chats. It'll be taking place in the main forum. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. See, like something like that, dude. It's like bring on the off season because I have a lot of fun with that. I don't know. I want the Blazers to do well, but at this point, I'm a little burnt out. I'm kind of ready for the off season because there's gonna be some fun stuff. So I don't know. I'm almost just ready for the season to be over.
Yeah.
Sadly, but anyway, we will reach out at some point with that if we're looking for spots to fill. But
speaking of that, your boy True Blazer fan was on Twitter last night telling people that the season's not over and they still have a good chance of turning it around. And
yeah, see, his whole thing is preach positivity. All right, so if he wants to go and preach positivity, that's fine. The problem I have is when he then like calls people a bunch of crying babies if they're frustrated with the team or like whatever, and he's like, he'll have moments where he's really negative towards people over their opinions. It's like, if you want to preach positivity, do it consistently. Don't preach positivity and then trash somebody for their opinion. It kind of contradicts itself. So that's my only thing with him. Mm-hmm. But then also he's cool with Pinwheel Empire, which is the most toxic account on the entirety of NBA Twitter.
Him and Pinwheel Empire were going at people that were responding to a Pinwheel Empire tweet. Yes.
Yep, he teamed up with Pinwheel Empire, which is the most toxic account in Blazers Twitter. So yeah, I mean, but preach that positivity, man. Go ahead. Anyway, also make sure to drop that SeatGeek code in everything you tweet. Oh my goodness. Anyway.
Cash asked, do you think it's going to be a first round exit? Honestly, I don't even know if we make the playoffs at this point.
If you had to bet, are we going to be playing in the first round or not?
If I had to bet, I would guess we would be the 8th seed. So we'll probably finish in 8th and then lose the first playing game and then win the second one or something and slide into the 8th barely, and that would be so. I mean, I still want them to make the playoffs and have a chance, I guess, but like it would be so disappointed to have that lottery pick stay in Portland that close away from happening, and then us like win at the end against Golden State or something,
I mean, at least if we got the 8th seed, we go against the Jazz, which isn't. They're not the Los Angeles Lakers, So I mean, maybe you go into that like, well, maybe we can make something happen, but probably not. I mean, people are underrating the Jazz going into the playoffs. I'm looking at playoffstatus.com right now. It gives us a 22% chance of not being in a play-in and a 78% chance of, or no, a 22% chance of being a 7 seed or higher, and a 78% chance of being 8th, 9th, or 10th. Yeah. We currently have a 43% chance of being 9th or 10th.
Oh, our pal Jason Peterson, by the way, speaking of the Utah Jazz, had a tweet today. The Jazz have 3 All-Stars and a most likely 6th man of the year on their team that's not even close to talent-wise to the Blazers.
They have 0 superstars. We have 1. We have I'd put CJ at the same level as a Mike Conley. So Damon Nurk versus Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I mean, I'd take Mitchell and Gobert, but not by much. Okay, third, and then Conley, CJ, pretty equal. I mean, Melo is a bit comparable to Clarkson off the bench, because Clarkson's just a scorer. He's more efficient than Melo. That's why he's like 6th man, and he scores a little higher clip. But I mean, the talent is not that much different.
Well, here's the deal. Conley has never been an all-star. In fact, going into this season, most people said, at the time, people thought the Conley trade was going to be good for them, but he was not good last year. And going into the season, almost everyone was like, oh, but they still have the Conley problem, and he still has 1 year left on his deal or whatever. And he's actually played well this year, but he was only an all-star as an injury replacement, and it was only because they had the number one record. And this goes back to what we keep saying. If we were where we were supposed to be, up near the top with the Suns and the Jazz, with all these other injuries to teams and teams like Denver struggling at the beginning of the year, if we would have been up there, we would have likely had a second all-star too. Maybe not this year because of injuries, but a couple years ago, like CJ probably would have been an all-star if we were a 1 or a 2 seed at the time of the all-star game. Instead, we're always fighting for 6 through 8 at the time, or even out of the playoffs completely, and we're not going to get 2 all-stars that way. So I don't even like agree that they have 3 all-stars, and that's why I hate the comparing how many all-stars a team has.
Yeah,
it's such a bad level of talent.
Let me just say this right now. Anybody who judges how much talent a team has based on all-stars or not, it's casual, okay? Because the reason they had a lot of all-stars is because they were playing really well. Well, they're a really well-coached team. If they were a poor coach team, they wouldn't have 3 all-stars. So if you are basing that basically means you're basing the talent off the team off all-star appearances, which are based on how well coached the team is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, there's too much that goes into an all-star appearance. Or
popularity conference.
Yeah, it's a popularity contest. Guards in the East is probably a little easier to make the All-Star game than the West. If a guy like CJ gets injured, CJ I thought was on pace to make the All-Star game if we had a good enough record, if we were a well enough coached team, and he didn't get hurt. So is he like not as good as Mike Conley simply because he got hurt and because Mike Conley is playing on a well-coached team? Like, you see what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here? Sure. Anybody who judges talent based on all-star appearances or not is a certified casual, and it just should not be listened to when it comes to basketball takes. Flat out, simple.
Yep, and I've mentioned this several times, but Belgian brings it up again. Devin Booker has never made the All-Star game outright without it being an injury replacement. Do you think he's not talented? And let me just bring this up. I was curious what good old Jordan Clarkson's stats are, since I know he's fallen off a bit lately.
Yeah.
He's averaging 17.5 points. Great, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's shooting 42.2% from the field and 34.9% from 3.
I mean,
that's not... I don't even think that's better than Melo, is it?
What's his true shooting percentage, Clarkson's?
Well, he's 92% from the free throw line. That will save him. His true shooting percentage is 54.9, so that's probably
okay. Melo's 53.3, yeah, but
so not even that
wise, not pretty similar.
Not like a clear cut. Like, okay, this is my point. Jordan Clarkson on the Blazers would be one of the guys like, oh look, they have another guard that isn't efficient and can't play defense and sucks. But when he's on the Jazz, it's like, oh, look, they have a 6th Man of the Year candidate, right? Like, these guys, their analysis is terrible. I hate that. I wish that we weren't, like, clowning these guys constantly for their takes, because they're getting paid to do it. And we're just, like, sitting here on a YouTube channel talking about the Blazers. And I'm sorry, but, like, I don't have like a big ego or anything, but I would put our knowledge of all these guys and talent and stuff and coaching against anyone that covers, especially the Blazers, but pretty much any national person either.
Well, the only reason I do it is because like I know that we try to be knowledgeable, and I don't have confidence that a lot of other guys try and be more knowledgeable than they are. Mm-hmm. They'd rather just sit there and make takes like, oh, look at the All-Stars they had this year. They're much better. You know what I mean? Instead of actually trying to educate themselves about, just look at the CBA. How many people that cover this team know squat about the CBA and how contracts work and how roster construction works? None of them, but they'll be the first to criticize Olshey.
For an elite win.
Yeah. Without knowing what's out there and yada, yada. Yeah. But me and Eric studied the CBA before we started doing YouTube. We were fans that were studying the CBA simply because we wanted to know how things worked. How the NBA worked. As fans, bro. We weren't covering the team. We weren't getting paid. We weren't doing anything. So that's why I'm hard on those guys, because they're getting paid, and it's like they don't try. Meanwhile, we're just fans and we're studying the CBA. I don't know. It's frustrating, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see what it's like next year when we should have a new head coach. That's all I'm like hanging on to right now.
And I mean, I'm sorry, but Norman Powell's a good player. I mean, I'm sick of people like trying to blame him as the problem when these problems have existed beforehand. And Rocco is I mean, he's been an all defensive team guy in his career. He was the Rockets also brought him in as a defensive player, and it didn't work because of their miniature lineup with like no center and stuff. They probably should have kept Capella, but
everybody was freaking out at the deadline though. Oh, the Rockets trade for Robert Covington. Oh, she never does anything. And then we trade for Robert Covington.
And now that's seen as like a safe move or something, even though we gave up 2 picks for him, and because he's not being used right. And it's so frustrating because there's so many cases where, like, Aaron Gordon is the perfect example. He's doing nothing in Denver. He's not been good for them. In fact, he's been like benched at times since he's gone to Denver. And if he would be doing that right now, everyone would be killing Olshey for trading for him, and still not recognizing that the coach is the problem. But instead, everyone's like oblivious. It's like the Jordan Clarkson thing I just said. They're just like think they have it in their minds that he's some like budding superstar just waiting to go to a new team and be like an all NBA type guy. And that's just not him. And it drives me crazy because where are all those people now? Why aren't they saying anything? Like, they were all like, look at Denver, they're 7-0 since the trade, like not even recognizing that it didn't really have anything to do with him. Sherman says in 15 games with Denver, he's shooting 29.5% from 3. And I guarantee you he would shoot even more threes with us than he's shooting in Denver. So like it would be even worse for us if he got him. And he's got an elite passing big man to give him the ball, and it's still not working out with them. And everyone thought that was like a perfect fit for him, and he still isn't very good. And that guy is I'm not joking. I think he is the most overrated player of all time. Like, that guy sucks. He's not good at all. Like, he's only good numbers wise because of how skilled he is athletically. But that guy, I guarantee you, does not have a good work ethic, because if he had even half the work ethic of a Dame or a CJ, he would be one of the best players of all time, let alone like how he is now, and just like complete I don't know, like he people get like shiny object, look at these cool dunks, and that's the other thing. He cares more about the losing the dunk contest than losing the playoffs. Just, it's so dumb. Like, I don't understand how people can think that Denver made an all-in move, but Olshey didn't win. We got Norman Powell's better than Aaron Gordon too, by the way. So yeah, you can take that to the bank as well.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll continue to have you guys covered. We'll have a post-game stream tomorrow, and the next night we got a back-to-back going up against Indiana and Memphis on the road. So it'll be a little bit earlier stream tomorrow than normal. When does that game tip off tomorrow? I can have it right here, actually. I just didn't know if you knew the top of your head.
Oh, and
it's a 4 p.m. game. Go ahead.
Real quick, so everyone was saying about how Tom Thibodeau like sacrifices offense for defense, right? Over the last, I think it was 2 weeks, they have the number 1 offense in the NBA defense, offensive rating wise, just for the record.
Yeah. So, I mean, 4 p.m. tip off tomorrow against the Pacers. Our stream will go live at 6:30 p.m. or so.
Let me just say, so TJ Warren's obviously out, but Sabonis and Miles Turner were both already ruled out for that game tomorrow.
So hypothetically, it should be a game when you win, but we'll see. I mean, it would be funny if we lost that game. That would be like the Hornets loss. I mean, this isn't a given win. Oh,
no, not at all.
So we got the Pacers, then we got the Grizzlies once again on Wednesday night, and then we got the Nets on Friday night. So every day this week we will be streaming. So we'll have you covered on the stretch run of this season. There is currently only 12 games left until it's playing time for us. So, I mean, I don't know. Normally, like all season long, I'd say that, and then I'd say, well, so hopefully we're able to figure some things out. I'm not saying that anymore. Now I don't even know what to say. I mean, so hopefully we fade for Cade. That's the motto right now. But what?
I just saw that Kabendu guy said, yeah, then what would happen if we got Cade Cunningham and the number one pick, that he'd have his career of knee injuries and we'd be, yeah, just so dumb.
Yeah. No, I mean, Cade Cunningham isn't Sam Bowie or Greg Oden. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're not going to get a top 4 pick, so nobody has to worry about that,
right,
about us drafting somebody over the next MJ or whatnot. But, yeah, so we'll have you covered. We're streaming every day this week. We'll recap the game tomorrow, going live around 6:30. Until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in for us. Picks against the spread. It'll be interesting to watch the rest of today. I already saw the Valley podcast guys ranting on Twitter, which is a good thing for me and a bad thing for Eric. So that's a great thing for me catching up, because I could gain game and a half there. That would be dope. So anyway, we will I don't know. I'll be probably tweeting about these games for the rest of the night, or I don't know, tweeting about whatever. So make sure you follow me at Tory Jones YT. Eric is at Hoopshock. Channel is at Blazers Uprise YT. So thank you for watching. We're going to wrap up this stream. Anything you want to end off with, Eric?
No, thank you everyone who tuned in. Appreciate y'all.
Yep. Appreciate you guys as well. So until next time, as always, peace out.